So welcome to Especially for Specials. This was a professional development designed by myself, Donna Netzer, and my colleague, Gwyneth McGuire. We are both MLTI ambassadors, and we wanted to help meet the needs of those individuals that don't often get professional development that is tailored to them. We did provide this information live as well as this recording asynchronous. If you would like to look at a place where you can see the presentation and all of the notes, you may go to either one of these tiny URLs. It also has embedded in it lots of other presentations and professional developments that we gave all on that same day on the 14th of March. If you have not signed up for the main student conference and you are watching this before the student conference, we do host one every year, and we are looking for presenters as well as participants. If you want to see just this presentation, you can go to that tiny URL, and this does have lots of embedded links and things for you to look at and check out. So we are part of the Learning Through Technology team. The bottom row of people, those 9 are all ambassadors. So we rotate. The first 5 are ambassadors in my class, we call it. We are in our second year as ambassadors, and then the last 4 are those that are in their first year as ambassadorship. And we do take applications every year for 4 or 5 new ambassadors. On the top, we have our business team as well as our program director and specialists that are on the team. So as a whole, we are 18 people here and ready to be working with MLTI schools and providing free professional development for them tailored to your needs. So the agenda for this is we want to look at some AI tools that could help even in your particular context, AI guidance from the DOE and the amount of resources that are in that. We did set out time to explore when we did this synchronously, but at any point, pause and reflect and look at and take the time to explore during this asynchronous. We do have lots of resources for you. I'm gonna dive into Canva a little bit. And then for the wrap up, make sure that if you want to reach out, you grab our email, and please email us with questions that you have. So let's go ahead and just get started and dive right in. AI is a helper, and we are going to have a cooking theme, at least for part of this, because we want people to see that this tool can be used in any context. And so we decided to not go for a specific content area, but actually do a context outside of that. So I'm going to click right here on this spinning wheel, and we're going to go just to ChatGPT. If you click on that link, you'll actually see a chat that I started a while ago to show you kind of the power of AI so that we can understand that it is a helper for us. So I started with this simple prompt of I have chicken. I want to make something different than I always make for supper. I made a typo. It does understand that. Ask me about other ingredients and my likes to come up with a dinner plan. So if you think of AI as a resource to help you think, we want to converse back and forth and be able to draw from what ChatGPT is drawing from all over the internet and what it's been trained for to help us get better ideas. And so here it's come up with some questions or some comments, other ingredients we have, flavor preferences. And as you go through here, you'll see that I interacted and it starts making me a pretty good recipe. And I asked for specific things. So when you do prompt AI, you want to make sure that you're specific so they know what they're looking for, something with less dairy. So it did it again. And it keeps honing that recipe here. And I asked it to include some other stuff as well. You'll notice it does give me the full instructions when you get down here. We actually now, I decided on a casserole. The chicken's already cooked, giving it some details it would need for that recipe. But look, in my ingredients, it's telling me exactly how much of each ingredient. It's telling me how to preheat the oven, the entire works. So the idea of being able to go back and forth in real time with the machine that has information from all over the internet, we're gleaning from all of that. And so even down here, I said, give me some side suggestions. And it's even going to tell me what pairs well with it. Okay. And I can continue this conversation. I can go in a different direction. I can say, What are multiple dinners I could make with this and such. So when you go to ChatGPT is a large language model, meaning that it draws from all over the internet. Be specific, be direct, and it can help you process through and think through and get ideas for the work that you have to do. So that's what I wanted to show you first. If you want to take time to pause and play around with ChatGPT, that's absolutely fine. One thing to know, you can log in and it will save your history. I'm not actually logged in at the moment, it looks like. You can always start a new chat here, and if you're going to change topics, you're going to want to do that because you don't want to just have a large list of all of your chats in one place, because you want to be able to go back and look at that later. So AI is that super helper for us to help us be able to think and process, gather information quickly. I could look up recipes with all that stuff, do a Google search or Bing search or whatever browser you're using, but it would take me a lot of time to gather the information when I can just converse and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. What kind of ideas do you have for me? We're going to take a second to look at the AI guidance from the state, because typically when you get guidance, you get like a PDF or some sort of document that was relevant at that time. But AI is such an ever-changing technology that we wanted it to be a more dynamic experience for you, something that would be a living document that would be growing over time. So all of these links are embedded in the presentation. It will take you to a Genially, which is an interactive presentation model. I'm going to go ahead and put my name in there. And you'll notice that there are all over the place, there are things you can interact with. And if you press this button, you can actually see what you are able to interact with. So there is a menu over here that can lead you to any place you want to go. We can return to the main menu over here. We can always, Martin is the little helper that's here to help kind of navigate and show us the ropes of how to use all of this. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go home, back to that main page. There's your menu again. Anytime you see those three lines, we call them the hamburger. That's a menu. I want to just go to the overview though, because this is the brilliance of this, is that it's not a document you've got to read through and get to different sections. It's actually broken up so that you can jump in wherever it makes sense for you. So if you're at the I need AI explained to me, you can click on that. If you are over here as a leader and you need AI help for leadership, you can click on that. I want to take you to the AI tools and resources. There is a tool directory here that gives you lots of information. These are tools. We are actually going to be looking at some of these tools as well. But these resources and tools are things that are there to help you. There are lots of different things about, like, how do you want to use it? So these are just some images to help you remember, like, how do you want to go about using AI in your classroom? And again, you can always go back and you can click on another thing so that you can enter into this AI journey wherever you are already, and you can get feedback and find and navigate through this and find what you're looking for pretty quickly. So I just wanted to show that off, because that is something that the AI team and our emerging tech specialist, Nicole Davis, has been working on a great deal. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone has access to that. So now let's go, and I'm going to talk about my 4 favorite tools that I think can help any teacher, no matter what context they're in. So I did get these descriptions from ChatGPT, which I looked at, I edited it, made sure that it's what I wanted, but I was very pleased with it. So that's one of the things that AI can do for you, is it can take tasks that you have and it can do some of those transactional small tasks for you pretty quickly. It gathers information and processes it pretty well. So let's look at Goblin Tools. Goblin Tools is a fairly new tool to me, but it's something that I really, I'm starting to enjoy. So the first thing it takes you to is breaking things down. So if you think of a scenario where you have students, maybe you have a long task or project that you have them working on and they need it broken up into smaller chunks. Or maybe you have an IEP or 504 that says to break things up into smaller chunks. Maybe you have students that don't really know what to do next. Maybe you have tasks that you're not sure how to start. So we can use this from a teacher perspective. We can use this from a student perspective, and I'm going to showcase some of that. So if I need to create a lesson plan on design thinking. And I can go over here and now I can break that down. But this is all going to be something that you can edit as well. You can adjust the spiciness level, meaning how much information you want, how far down you want it to be broken up. But you can also identify the target audience for the lesson plan. Let's say that's already done. So you can check it off, but you can also delete it if you want to. Research the principles and stages of design thinking. That seems like a pretty big task within itself. So I'm going to break that one down. And maybe this one's blank. That's kind of funny. I will move that one. You can rearrange as well if you like those to be in a different order. But it breaks down what you need to do, and then it creates that checklist for you to be able to work through. So that was from the teacher perspective. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And let's say that I need to create an outline for my paper. And that seems like one task, but it might actually have loads of steps that our students are unable to think through all those steps themselves. And again, you can edit those different pieces, you can rearrange them. One of the ones I had a lot of fun with is I have a son, an adult son with autism, and so we're teaching him to wash dishes. So if you are watching this and you are doing life skills, I think this is an amazing tool for life skills. So wash dishes, I'm going to break it down and it's going to give me individual steps. And again, you can edit these, you can rearrange them, you can delete the ones you want. But I think this is just a really invaluable tool to break down and give you the steps when things are a little too much in one big chunk. So that's one of the main tools that this AI tool does. It does have a formalizer, which it can change what you're saying to be any of these categories: grammatically correct, more sarcastic. That's an interesting one. Easier to read, more formal, more informal, depending on your context. That would also be a great way to communicate with your students and about how you communicate and the words you use and the tones that you use and how do you maybe compare and contrast some of that. There is a judge where you can put in information and it will suggest what it's trying to say, either from someone or yourself. So it takes away that emotional aspect. There's a professor here giving a crash course. So let's see, dividing fractions. And I'm going to go ahead. Again, you can choose that spiciness level. And I'm going to go ahead and it's going to give me some step-by-step. It's going to give me some examples. I have a consultant here where you can enter something and it's going to kind of weigh the pros and cons of it. So being able to think through in a scenario, again, I think this is a great life skills tool to be able to use. So entering something here like, I want to use my paycheck to, you know, all of my paycheck on a new tattoo. Well, there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons. Okay. Estimator, take this one with a grain of salt. Obviously, the estimation of time is very reliant on who's doing the task and whatnot, but it might give you some feedback as far as how long should I give my students to make an outline? Okay, what should my timeline be? This one's very interesting to me. The compiler, I can put down my brain dump of information and thoughts, and it's going to turn it into tasks and let me kind of pick away at those things that are overwhelming to me. And then they have a chef one, which is kind of fun to be able to learn how to cook. So they do call this, I've seen it called the ADHD tool, something that makes you kind of plan out systematically and be able to think through the steps of things. Like I said, I have a son with autism. This is an excellent tool for him as well. So whatever context that you are in, I think that this can help break down those larger pieces and be able to work with the communication around what's in your context. Again, at any point, just stop, play around with a tool, and then come back to the video. We're not going to do that as a general rule because it is asynchronous. Next one is DIFIT, which stands for differentiation. We all know that we're responsible for meeting the needs of our students, and they're not all going to be in the same at the same grade level. So if I want to put a topic here, let's say that I want to do, let's do design theory. And I can come down here even, and I can change the grade level. It can be the grade level you're teaching or the grade level the students are at. What type of reading do you want them to do? There are tons and tons of different languages. That's another beauty of this. You could instead put a book in there or an article or YouTube link, a PDF. There's all kinds of things you can plug in, but you could just start with, here, we're just going to put this information in. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate resources you can use for that topic and that grade level. If there's any issue with DIFIT, it is that there's so much stuff, okay? Too much of a good thing. So it's going to take you some time to work through and be able to find the pieces that you're looking at. But it's making me some pictures that I can use. There are some reading, and I can look at sources as well. I can edit, I can make copies. There are summaries, there are key vocabulary. I'm not signed in at the moment, but it is a free tool. You can have, it made me quizzes, all this kind of stuff. Plus we can get student activities. It's going to force me to sign in at this point. But we can get just an absolute glut of student activities created that we can use with our students. Get student activities right here. And you can look at, well, we're at the very beginning, we really need the basics. So this is like your filter to find what you're looking for. If you're focusing on just vocabulary, if you want to analyze some text, if you want kids to collaborate, here's some critical thinking, so kind of going beyond. So let's look at some of these. We can favorite them so that we're like, okay, I want to keep these pieces. I like this a lot. So here's a comic strip. And they're pulling from around the internet. So you'll see this is created by Ditch That Textbook. You can make this into Google Slides, PowerPoint, or PDF. But we've got all of these different resources that are embedded. We can export the activity so we have it. You can customize it because it may not be exactly what you're looking for, but it's a really great place to start. So another thing about AI is that it will give you that starting place. If you think about, I don't even know where to begin. You can begin with this and tweak things. So it can become like a template, or just get away that block of not quite knowing where to start. As with all of these tools, it's just going to take some time to jump in, play around with it, but you're going to get some good things really quickly. The next one, I'm going to leave Magic School for last because it's so robust. Brisk Teaching is a very interesting one because it's actually a Chrome extension. And what I mean by that is up here in the corner, you have extensions. You can click this puzzle piece because if you don't have it pinned, it won't show for you. But that once you get the Chrome extension, it actually lives on whatever page you're on. So I'm going to click it. And you'll see the little brisk button should pop up. There we go, right down here. And whatever page you're on, it can brisk it. In other words, it can do something with that. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to type in music theory now. And I'm going to look for a video. And obviously I would want to vet this. But for the sake of just showing you how quick this can be, I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I'm going to press this brisk button. And now I'm on a YouTube video. It could be any type of website. That's just one of the options. When you press it, it's going to tell you all kinds of things that you can do with it. So You can get a quiz, make a presentation out of it, get some depth of knowledge questions. You can change the level so that it's better understood, although a video might be a little different. But I'm going to go ahead and press create and look at all the different things that I can do. There's even IEP goal plan and 504 plans and whatnot. But let's say I want to create a quiz. And you'll notice, or maybe you didn't notice at the time, but it gives me options. I can make this quiz in Google Forms or Google Docs. It's going to give me all of these types of options here. I can change the grade level. So maybe this is actually like a 5th grade level. And I would like some long response questions, but that means that I only want like 3. You can personalize to your learners, any of that kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and make it into a doc. It's going to start a brand new Google Doc. It's going to take just a little bit of time to process what's in the video and be able to turn that into a quiz. And then we're going to be able to tweak and change things because this is a Google Doc. So you can change things and edit things. You never want AI to be the doer for you. It's just the starter for you. And so think of this as like your first draft. Now you can make it more difficult, less difficult. You can translate it again to all these languages, make it shorter or longer. I like this one. I want an answer key. And so it's going to create an answer key. It also, I was doing one the other day and it described why that's the answer. So it didn't just give the answer, it actually gave a context for it. So imagine having to, obviously you would watch the video because you want to vet it, but then being able to create this quiz without having to go through all the hoops of thinking of what to put in it as well. Okay, and so it's got all of that information. So again, Brisk just lives on the page that you're on. It can even go to a website. So let's do Edutopia. Here's a STEM in any classroom article, and I can Brisk this. And I can create lots of different things. So if I want to create depth of knowledge questions, and this time it's university level, I can go ahead and it's going to create a Google Doc for me, and it's going to have that depth of knowledge that we know increases our students' critical thinking and learning. And it's all based on that document because, again, this tool sits on top of anything that you're working on, and it just keeps on generating. I'm going to go ahead and close these out. You can tell that keeps going and keeps going. Now let's go ahead. We're going to look at Magic School, and you are going to have to sign up. There is a premium account. I've never had to use that, and I've had lots of interactions with Magic School and never needed anything like that. It was created by an educator and an admin. He became an admin, and he created this tool to be what he would want. So there's a couple of things about Magic School. There are all these templates. So we talked about how in ChatGPT, it's a large language model. You have to give it the information so that it knows what to give you back. When you have these prompt ones, these tools, it asks you the questions. And so we're going to start here. Do an SEL plan. Again, you're going to choose the grade level. If you do have a standard, and it would be familiar with like the CASEL standards, Common Core, it would be familiar with all of those. You would put in information, but let's just say, just for the sake of this, getting along, and that's very vague, but you would look at maybe different competencies. If you want to upload something that you have, you could do that. And so we're going to go ahead and generate, and notice it just asked me for information, and then it was able to give me this information. Again, you would want to spend your time making sure it's what you want, but you have a great place to start. And there are tons of these magic tools. And if you star them, they will show up in your favorites. I really like this multiple explanations one. So if I am teaching 8th grade, and the concept that's being taught is linear equations, I now am going to get several different ways in order to explain it to them, which a lot of times we teach the content that we are most comfortable with. And so we don't always think about alternative ways of thinking of it. So that's why I like that tool so much. There are some fun ones that are like songs and jokes and that kind of stuff. But as you are looking through here, rubric generator, love a good rubric, don't like starting them. YouTube videos and questions, there's the song generator. Standards Unpacker, isn't that a blessing? I'm gonna actually favorite that one. You can launch to students. You want to see what the Magic Student looks like. So you would create a class and your students would have access to whatever you let them have. They could have their own chat bot. They could have lots of different things. There is a language learning tutor. There are different tutors for different things, literary devices, coding, all kinds of different things that you could open up to them. But the last piece about Magic School is that it does have its own chatbot. And again, because this is a tool designed for education, this is something where it's honed into the best practices and the things that teachers would need. And so if I wanted to say I need an exit ticket with or over the principles of design, I can start there. And again, I'm going to have this conversation back and forth in order to get what I'm looking for. And I just realized I didn't put in a grade level for grade 11, or you might actually want to put in a good practice sometimes is to not name a grade, but like an age for age 12, because around the world in different countries, age 12 and grade 12, different things can mean different things. So now it's going to hone that for me. I can even say, can you put that in a chart? And I only want 2 questions. So I can interact back and forth. And again, it's saving my history here. And so that's another tool that can get you information pretty quickly by drawing from the internet. It's kind of like doing a Google search, but being able to communicate with the Google search in a meaningful way that makes it so you can find what you're looking for. And you will find just about every subject area in here in one way, shape, or form. There are things about 504s and IEPs. So if you're looking for things like that, that's all embedded in there. So those are my 4 favorite tools when it comes to AI and making your life easier as a teacher, no matter what context you are teaching in, because I feel like it could help you and help you right now. We're going to skip over the play around time, but please make sure again that you are pausing and taking time to process how you need to. I do have a recipe collection here. So Padlet is one of my resources that I really like because you can post many formats of things. And so I've put together some Padlets of resources that I thought might help you in various content areas. And you can always reach out to get more information if that's of interest to you or you want to see more of my collections. Now let's jump into Canva. If you have not used Canva or gotten into Canva much, it is a very, very powerful tool. It is the tool that if someone were to say, what should we be using in education that will give us the most versatility? Canva is probably it, because it is a platform where you can design all kinds of videos and visuals that you would need or your students would need. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to open up another tab. I'm going to go to Canva. You will want to sign in. It is free for educators and you will get vetted. I'm sure that information is in here. My colleague Gwyneth put this together. And so making sure you go through to prove you're an educator, which is just putting in your information, so that all of the tools are free for you. And so here we're going to be looking at some lessons and templates. There's already some pre-made things for you. There are lots of AI tools that are embedded directly into it. a PDF editor, so something that can help you change what used to be a static image of sorts into something where you can edit things, and you can also do some feedback, and you can do some polls as well inside of Canva. So here, there is a search bar. You can write in that search bar. You can be very specific, like she put 3rd grade math lesson. You can browse and explore different things that are already there. You can use your filters to limit that. So let's go ahead and practice that a little bit. If I, again, put in that 3rd grade math, I am going to get, these are designs I made they thought might match, but here are some templates. There are 10,000 of them. You might want to use your filters a little bit more to figure out like what kind are you looking for? Are you looking for videos or images? You can even go a little bit further in here. You can look at just the templates here, and it will tell you different things. So there are worksheets, there are videos, there are presentations. If you want to use any of them, you click on them and you just say, use this lesson. It's going to pop open. I'll show you. And this actually ends up being 4th grade math. I don't know how I got there. You can actually edit each individual piece of these. So anything on Canva can be edited. The colors, the pictures, the fonts, every little piece is separate. As you see when I click on things, they're all individual pieces, all put together, but they're all started for you. Okay. If you were going to view this as a student, because you could assign these to kids as well, they would be looking at this from their point of view. So you can use your filters and everything and find lots and lots of information there just by looking for it, because there are lessons there. There are template libraries, so you can also use templates like we had already talked about. You can customize lessons, and all of these are places where you can click on and you can learn more. Templates are kind of your pre-made formats, and just like I said, use this template, use this lesson, I can jump right in and it can do everything. You can design completely from scratch, but a lot of people get intimidated by kind of that blank screen. Where do I even start? So let's go back to the main Canva page. And if I were to just say, well, I want to make a presentation, I got to go back to the main page. I just want to make a presentation. I'm going to start from scratch on photosynthesis. I'm not really sure where to start, but there are designs, even if you get in here to a blank page. Obviously, I've done photosynthesis before. This. I can type that into my design and I can get templates from there, or layouts, or different styles that we could use for that. And you can choose, if it has a play button and a pause button, that's going to be like a movie or a GIF, where something like this are slideshows, and you can use the entire thing and say, yep, this is where I want to start. Obviously, you want to look at the content, because if we put it there, list the 3 components necessary for photosynthesis, explain, you're going to want to have to shift this the way that you want to. So you can design from scratch. Make sure that if you're using a template, you use it first, because it will replace everything you've done if you decide to use a template after. Magic Write, and you'll be able to pause and watch this video or watch this video after. It does help you be able to get your thoughts out and use AI to help you kind of hone what you are working on. So Magic Write is right inside of Canva. If you look at Canva's apps, you can see other magic tools. Those are the ones that have AI that are embedded in them. Right there is Magic Write. So describe your writing, the process of photosynthesis. And I can have it generate that. And it's going to give me some information right there. And then again, I can hone in on just the parts that I want. But if I need to do some writing inside of that, there's a Magic Assistant there for you called Magic Write. Again, we're going to skip the exploration time. PDF editor. This one is a very cool one. So I'm going to go back to what I was, actually, I'll go back to an original one. And you'll notice there's all kinds of different things you can start here, or you can make your own size. I'm going to make a flyer right now. And I want it to be 8.5 by 11. And I can choose. I'm going to go into one and show you how I can change things. So this is a template. But I can get rid of stuff, or I can change stuff however I want to. This is an individual piece. I can change the color however I want to. It's going to keep track of the colors you've already used in the document. When you have text boxes, it's going to keep track of the fonts you've already used, so that it helps you kind of with those design thinking type things. But let's say I want to get rid of that part I just deleted, and you'll see all these different layers. So if I go to position, I can see the different layers that make up this design. And let's say I just want to get rid of these pieces. I just want to have this background there. That's fine too. And so we're going to now use an upload. You can upload a PDF. You can drag and drop it. I don't know if I have one here. Let's go ahead and upload, and I'm going to look for a PDF that I could put in here. Nope. Let's see. PDF. There we go. We're going to open this. Once it downloads, we're going to put it in as if it's just like a picture. But you'll notice what's going to happen now is that each individual thing has been broken down into its own text box. So if you've got a form you need to fill out, or if you've got something that you need to change that's a PDF, you can actually now click on this, and you can add to it, or you can subtract from different parts of it. And so you can edit that. If you needed to put a text box because you needed to sign a certain place, you could put a text box somewhere else. So I can go ahead and sign this, but it takes that PDF and it takes it out of that kind of static image mode into something where you can edit, which is pretty powerful. There's lots of tools out there, but now that it's embedded in Canva, that's pretty magical because it's all free as well. There's a video there if you want to learn the ins and outs. Canva is really good about having a design school, they call it, where they can teach you tips and tricks about the different things that you were doing in Canva, and you could just search for that. G also probably has that linked in here. You can give feedback to students. So this would be if you created a class and actually assigned something into Canva, but there is a video there that you could see how feedback works for your students. You can embed polls and quizzes. So you can have something right in your presentation that they could actively take a poll or take a quiz right there to give you some feedback, just like this one. And so if I look here, I can actually choose and vote in real time. And the correct answer is not correct here on this math one. I apologize. But you can have these polls. Oh, it says which one's incorrect. I didn't read it correctly. There we go. So you can actually put these inside of there. And so when you're in Canva, sorry, we're going to be actually in here. This side menu are different things that you can put into your design. Up here refers to the individual thing you're clicked on. And there's an apps section. You can scroll down here and you can look for like polls. Of course, it's not going to pop up like I expected, but there will be more down here to put in those polls and those quizzes as you are going through them. So again, you can watch that video on that last page to learn more about putting your polls and your quizzes inside of your designs that you have. There are lots more tools and tips with Canva. So G was able to put in lots of different things like teacher work kits. Here's some other teacher playbooks that help you maybe in your different subject areas. Whiteboards is a tool that's inside of Canva. It's kind of like the answer to Jamboard going away. And it's just a collaborative space that people can work on, scrolls infinitely up, down, left, right. Canva Live, so being able to do some things in live time while you're doing a presentation. And then again, lots of different things. And there's those teacher essentials course, Canva Decide School courses. And those are very short courses, maybe 15, 20 minutes to learn some ins and outs about how to get started with Canva. We want to make sure that if you're viewing this, that you do get connected with us. If you need anything, we're also on social media. We have a YouTube page that has lots of professional development and lots of contact hours. Please fill out the feedback form so we know what professional development is relevant to the field and how we can do better. We do have lots of professional development offerings. If you click on this, it will take you to a menu. That is just kind of our most popular offerings, but we've got lots of options as far as providing professional development. And then you can get contact hours specifically for this one just by clicking here on the link in the presentation. So please take a chance to do that and to get your contact hours. And again, reach out to the DOE team. I'll go back to that slide, or Gwyneth and myself as well, although we are in our second of 2 years as an MLTI ambassador. But you can reach out to our team at any time right there at that email and get more help on these topics or more professional development. Thank you.